Yeah.
Thanks, folks.
Well, I think that we talked about the smuggling, and I was somewhat surprised about their answer. And they said when you bring the price of tobacco down, it's the routes are there, so they just change what they smuggle, and they're getting more into drugs and that. So it's I guess what they're talking about is a coordinated approach with the feds and the province, and give them some tools, and it may have to go back to the Ministry of Finance and some of the other regulations, and having the power if they stop somebody to arrest somebody. Right now they don't have that power.
But how do you address it if you can't address it through taxes? They've been trying it through enforcement for a long time now, and
well, to give an example, if they stop somebody and there's contraband, the back seat's full of contraband cigarettes, they can't arrest them.
okay.
They don't have the power to do that. So some coordination of they have to call in another agency to do that, and maybe likely waste a whole day waiting for somebody to come out to Ottawa or someplace to come down to do that. So it's just a good example of not being very efficient.
You're talking about the revenue agency having to come down. Okay.
And what about the risk management program, especially for people in this riding in your township?
Well, it's a huge issue, and I think as you heard Tim talk, it's always been a priority for the PC government. Liberals have come on. They've only there's a deadline date on it. They haven't extended it forever yet. We may hear that in the future, but right now there's that agreement ends in a couple of years, I believe. But I think our point is that it's something that's at the trade table, and we certainly support it, and we look at it as being essential.
Are you surprised that it's not gathered? I mean, it's a conservative federal government right now, and could conceivably be a federal conservative government after this election.
Yeah.
And Guy Lauzon has always stood for rural issues, and it's always been a rural party. Are you surprised it's taking this long for the conservative federal government to come on board the risk management program?
Well, of course, they supported it in the last trade talks, and it's still on the table. I mean, they're supporting it at the trade talks, but those trade talks are going to be going on over the next number of years. And I know as their government supports it, they can't guarantee anything. You're talking about a trade deal with the rest of the world. Their starting point is it's on the table, and they want to leave it there.
Are you talking trade talks, the WTO or bilateral, or?
Well, they're talking about the new trade agreements coming up with the World Trade. Yeah. And I mean, Canada stands today as it's there, and they want to keep it. But there's a lot of pressure from Europe and the U.S. that don't have these in place, but they have other means of supporting the farmers that's basically under the table. So the risk management programs work very well. They're in place, and the money comes from within the market itself to pay for those. It doesn't require external money and funding from the province or the federal government.
Okay.